Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Friday, June 3rd, and the 2022 PLL season is upon us. Fresh off the heels of a very good college lacrosse season, a little uneventful there at the end, but right on the heels of that, we've got ourselves a killer weekend of pro lacrosse coming up in Albany this weekend. I'm Jordy from Barstool. With me, as always, we've got Doogs on the mic, and Doogs, you are about to take off to head up to Albany for week one. So how you feeling as the PLL season is getting underway?
Pumped. Yeah, I'm a PLL guy. I'm on the record that the way the game is shifting, I'm actually more of a professional lacrosse fan at this point than a college lacrosse fan, which I never thought I'd be able to say at one point. I mean, besides Notre Dame, of course, but hey, Redwoods are playing. It's just, as always, an exciting time to be a fan of Wax.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I feel like we're past the point where we need to badmouth the MLL. Like we're over it at that point. That we're so many years removed at this point. But it is nice to be able to wrap up this college season and not have that feeling that it's oh man, lacrosse was fun, but that's pretty much the last I'm actually going to watch of it for, until next February rolls around. We have all these games, all on the ESPN family of networks. So, you could be anywhere. You could be on the beach. You can stream it on your phone right there. You can be at the bar. You can easily tell them, hey, put on ESPN real quick. We've got, the Atlas taking on the Redwoods. I think that's the ESPN game this weekend. So, I mean, just super accessible, which makes it awesome. But also, I mean, just the talent pool is absolutely insane. So everyone, at this point of the week, you've all seen the 25-man rosters announced for each of the 8 teams. And my biggest takeaway is, holy shit, every single team is stacked.
I mean, that's what you get when you in this type of league, when you feel like there's not, that the talent is saturated. It's not going to be evenly spread out. Every team seems like an all-star team. You really can convince yourself or talk yourself into any of these teams winning the championship. But yeah, you see just even the guys that get cut to and go to the player pool, that's a competitive team that maybe could finish, middle of the pack, top of the pack in the standings if they were given a shot.
They'd be better than the Chrome.
Ooh, I mean, that's an interesting team. I gotta say that Sudo's he's got to be confident in his attack line, because I mean, something standing out. Randy Stat's not making that roster.
Yeah, we'll touch on all the rosters a little bit later in the show. I will say with that group, it does look like they should just roll with all their attackmen out there for every possession. But yeah, I mean, let's just reel it back a little bit, right? Because the last time that we watched some PLL action was back September 19th, 2021, as the Chaos pretty much throttled the Whipsnakes, stopped them from getting the three-peat. Chaos, they won their first PLL championship. That was a 14-9 win. And, that whole season, it was about as hard to kind of gauge who was going to come out on. I guess we kind of all knew that the Whipsnakes would be playing in that championship game just because they had the proven track record. But I mean, that entire season was just so bizarre, where there was no team that really stood out as, I mean, you had a bunch of teams at 6-3, few teams at 5-4. The Chaos were there at 4-5 to end the regular season, and they come out on top. Pretty much every team besides the Chrome were competitive last year. So I think we're going to see a whole lot more of the same this year around.
Yeah, I think that it's just close games all around the league. There's just different matchups that favor different teams. You see that the Chaos really rely on team chemistry, having people that the continuity between the Bandits and the PLL, the NLL. So, this just because they might come off slow because there's so many people on their team, or with the Bandits still in the playoffs, that doesn't mean they'll be out towards the end of the year. So look, just jumping off the gate, if we're talking gambling advice here, maybe take a stab at fading the Chrome for the beginning of the year when they're out with a lot of guys. But, It's not the same
Okay,
makeup.
yeah, chaos. I think we all knew what you were saying. You accidentally said chrome.
Yes, chaos. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's too many C's.
Just fade
Long
the
day.
yeah, fade the chrome in general, but yeah.
Yeah. But just fade the chaos. Not saying that all year long, but yeah, different makeup of the team. But it should be an exciting year. It's just weird. Sometimes you'll see like the archers get the best of the Whipsnakes, right? But then the archers can't beat the chrome. You're like, how does that make sense? It's like, that's just the PLL. Nothing really makes sense. Nobody's smarter than the next guy. No one really knows what the hell they're talking about. But
dude, and I'll tell you what, like the PLL did the chaos dirty in the beginning of the season here, right? Because like you had to look at the NLL season, you had to look at the NLL as a league and how that was going to shape up. Know that the Bandits were an absolute wagon. Have a good feeling that there would probably be quite a few Bandits who weren't going to be available for these first couple weeks of the season. And so, I mean, right off the bat, you got a rematch of the championship game against the Whipsnakes. They're also playing against so they play against the Archers next week. They have the Redwoods the following week, and then in Baltimore they have the Water. So their first 4 games: Whipsnakes, Archers, Redwoods, Waterdogs. Like I'd say the 4, like besides the Cat, like those are like the top 4 teams that you wouldn't want to play. And so not only are these guys going to miss a couple weeks because they'll be busy probably winning another NLL championship, but also like by the time that they get back, like, yeah, are they going to have a bunch of built-in chemistry already? Absolutely. And like, that's going to help them later down on the road. But like transitioning from box to field, like in that quick of a turnaround might be a little difficult for them. So to get those 4 games off the bat, instead of just like handing them like, hey, like here's, I don't know. I feel bad shitting on the Chrome too much here. Here's the Cannons, right? Like here's a game against the Cannons just to get you guys into the swing of things while you're missing a few guys. Like PLL did not hook them up with that schedule.
I'm actually this is a little, we talked about a little over the place, but I'm going to say something really quick. I think you're down on the Chrome. I'm up on the Chrome. So I think that there's going to be some surprises. I don't see the Chrome finishing in last place. I don't see it. Bad at trades, but I don't think that Pseudo will finish bottom of the pack 2 years in a row.
I like their defense. And I like if you give Owen McElroy the reins in net. So like I think that they're going to be able to hang around in games because of that defense. And if McElroy is able to just kind of lock in right away.
You're not Scanone guy? I'm really in on Scanone. I think he's a stud. I think that like if you give him enough shots and you give him enough comfortability in the cage, that he'll prove to be one of the better goalies in the league. I don't think he's gotten that shot yet. He's just gotten like, thrown into the mix when they're down a lot, give when Galloway gets out of the cage. But like, I really do. This is the team, the Chrome 2 years ago, that in the bubble, it's a different makeup, but 2 years ago in the bubble, they went into the tournament or like went into the playoffs as the number 1 or 2 seed, turned some heads. The year before that, they had a lot of those 1-goal losses. I think that they're gonna surprise some people. I don't know. I'm not saying they're gonna win it all, but I don't think they'll finish last.
You're the goalie guy, so I'll go with what you're saying on Scanone. So I won't be down on Scanone, but I'm just more of a McElroy guy. No, I think, I don't know. It'll be really interesting. Like, I think Dylan Malloy playing a full season and like having like a training camp. Like I think that like we saw some really good Dylan Malloy last year once he came around, but also he was like, just like kind of thrown into the mix. So I think like this will be a good season where we can remember like, oh yeah, this guy won a Tewaaraton trophy. Like he was the best player on the planet for a quick minute. So, I like a Dylan Malloy, almost like a bounce back year, I guess. I mean, I obviously I'm a big Nick Turn and Logan Wisnauskas fan, but like, we'll see how all that works out, just at least early on in the season. I don't know, just that the midfield unit that I'm looking at it right now, like I just don't know. I don't know. You'd have to run a lot of your attackmen out of the box in order to like attack short sticks. Cause I don't know.
Which I think they're okay with. Like Jackson Morrill, like coming out of the box and doing big little. That's a scare. That's not like he's quick. Like that's a starting ex attackman in this league. Getting him out of the box is no easy matchup. I mean, I've always loved McIntosh. Vanagon's one of those hard downhill dodgers.
I do also forget that Justin Anderson can dodge like a motherfucker too, like a good downhill shoulder type of,
I haven't seen anything from him, or I haven't heard anything about him in training camp. So this is just my opinion on him. I think Cole Williams has the opportunity. I think he has the size, the strength, and I thought that he should have been drafted out of Hopkins last year. I think that he could potentially have a big year or a big couple years to come for the Chrome. I love Cole Williams, and I think that he should be a player that stays in the league. I mean, they got big physical bodies on this team. I think that their identity will have to be strength, fitness, just out toughing people. But I don't know. They do have a scary defense.
Yeah, scary defense.
D-middies are no joke.
And again, all right. So what you figure you go like, all right. So you've got, actually, I'd probably run Heacock out of the box.
Well, he's out of the box. I think it would be. Okay. I think the starters from the first scrimmage, if the starters hold true, besides Kavanaugh. Sorry, Cav. I hate saying that, but I think it would probably be Malloy, Nick Turn, Wisnauskas.
Okay, so then you got Heacock and Jackson Morrill running out of the box with Justin Anderson, John Ranigan. Again, I think I just have so much like. There's too much stink around the Hopkins program as a whole for me to really be like, oh yeah, like Cole Williams is going to be a dog this year.
Well, here's the only people forget. Hopkins wasn't great. I'm the first person to shit on Hopkins. Hopkins was not great during the 2021 season, but do you remember what they went on at the end of the year? They went on a little bit of a run. Do you remember that? A little bit of a run. People started to believe a little bit. They said if they run the table, they could potentially make the tournament. And then in the Big Ten championship game, they gave Maryland everything they had. I mean, close game. That was that was one of the times where I was watching. I was like, Cole Williams, that motherfucker should have been drafted. I mean, I could see him like it's just a lot of big boys. Kevin Rogers is huge. He came on strong in his rookie year last year. So look, do I think the Chrome can win the championship? Absolutely not. But I'm here to be the Chrome stan out of the two of us. I'll be more out on the Cannons than the Chrome.
All right. Well, let's just roll right into the Cannons then. Really nice pickup there of John Piatelli. I think that they're going to really like that, even though he didn't have his best game on Memorial Day. But down there at attack with guys like Stephen Rafus and a little guy named Lyle Thompson. At the midfield, you've got Brendan Bomberry. You've got Ryan Drenner. You've got Asher Nolting down at midfield. So a little unknown there. I think a lot of people are still going to be a little up in the air on how he's going to fit into that offense. And I think that we'll figure it out right away. Week 1 in Albany. Goalie, first off, by the way, I will say the Cannons are dead to me. So I'm not going to be rooting for the Cannons at all, even though it pains me to have to root against Lyle Thompson. But the Cannons are very much dead to me, and they're dead to this podcast because they pick up Drake Porter out of the player pool, and he does not make the 25-man roster. They go with Nick Morocco and Colin Kirst in net. Listen, obviously the Colin Kirst pickup, yeah, it's probably a really smart move. Kid's a fucking freak between the pipes, but still, to cut you cut Drake Porter, I cut you out of my life. So yeah, I mean, defensively, they're fine. I think really like their D mids would be the highlight of their defensive unit with Tyson Bell and Zach Goodrich. Yeah, I don't know. the more I look at this roster, the more, I'm not sold on it, even with Lyle.
The one move that I really liked of the Cannons was getting Ficaro. So I think that's going to be a nice replacement for Rabel. Ficaro he's an all-pro player that didn't fit in to the Chaos offense because he was American. Does Andy Towers hate Americans? I'm not saying that. Does he hate American ball players? Possibly. And he's got a thing for Canadians. I mean, there's no denying that. So look, Ficaro just didn't fit in with the Northmen, but there's a lot of what ifs with this team. That's my main thing why I'm willing to more bet my stakes on. I love how we're talking about like which team won't finish last. I'm willing to bet on the Chrome not finishing last just because of the so many what ifs that the Cannons have. So it's almost weird to think that the Cannons are in like win now mode because they're giving up so much draft capital. They're like the Brooklyn Nets. Remember the Brooklyn Nets gave up like all those first round picks for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce at the end of their careers? It seems like the Cannons somewhat did that with the Bubba Fairman draft, traded away their first round pick last year, but it's weird because they're stacked at D-middies because then you got Bell Goodrich, like you said, and then you got Bubba Fairman coming back. Look, the face-off X too. Like, it's like, I'm not the biggest Bones Kelly guy. Like, does Woodall, how does he look going into the year? How does Asher Knowlton come into play with the Cannons? There's just a lot of what ifs. The one not what if of the Cannons.
Wait, where's Bubba Fairman right now?
He's on the physically unable to perform list.
Okay.
Him and Matt Rahill.
Okay.
So
and also probably Brendan Puglisi as well. I think he shattered his wrist.
According to the PLL Cannons Twitter account, don't see anything about him. But
no, I'm saying in terms of all the Terps who probably won't be making it. For week one.
Yes. I could imagine that a bunch of them sit out.
Yeah,
in general. But yeah, there's just a lot of what ifs with this team. Like Rafis will show up, Thompson will show up. I expect Jenner to have a good year, but it just depends how they mesh, in my opinion.
All right. So you mentioned that Andy Towers hates American ball players.
Yes.
How much do you think that it pains him right now to see Bryce Wasserman on his 25-man roster? Then, not only is he American, but he's from the deep South, good old Texas boy.
Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I could imagine that he just gave a very heavy breath, fuck. He's just so mad about it. Yeah, but just even going into week one with the chaos, you just have to question, are too many people counting them in because they won the championship last year? They kind of need to do that the 3.2% thing that they were doing last year. Remember that?
Yeah, they were.
The PLL socials need to put out every week, who picked you? Who picked the last place team to win the championship? It's nobody. Nobody saw the last place team winning.
Yeah. Now I will say credit where credit's due. The post game boys put together a great edit for this chaos roster with over the replacements, which is just perfectly fitting for what they're going into week one with. And I will say, I think I'm gonna be a chaos guy in general. Mostly just gotta support my guy Austin Kaut. Just having the greatest job in the PLL right now, where you just get to back up Blaze Reardon. Easy game when that's what you got to do. But I'm going to be such a huge chaos stan if this ragtag bunch of replacements starts off the year hot, right? If we get our guy Jerry out there just winning draws, getting the ball down and then Bryce Wasserman filling up the back of the net. Who knows? Maybe they're even so low on numbers that they have to throw Blaze out there to play offense, and then you have Austin Kaut between the pipes. If this ragtag group of guys not only keeps the chaos afloat in these first couple weeks of the season while the the Bandit boys are doing things in Bandit land, I'm going to be all over this team.
I will say that it would be a bunch of fun to see this team start winning. And also just quick error on my point, A, B, C, D, E, E, E. I said Bones Kelly. I'm pretty sure I mixed that up, but it was Stephen Kelly on the Cannons. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I don't trust him more. But yeah, I mean the chaos if they rolled out some wins with this team, that could be a lot of fun. And look, I'm not the biggest meme guy in the world, but some nice replacement memes could come out of this. They're like I think the post game nailed that. This is hilarious. I can't wait to watch that after this episode. Um, I I have to admit something.
Go ahead.
It pains me. I saw a clip. Did you see the clip on social that the Chaos put out, or PLO put out during a scrimmage between the Chaos and the Cannons?
The only one that I've seen, and by the way, like we'll talk about this right after this, but like the video quality of some of these scrimmage highlights is out just insane. No, the only one that I saw from the Chaos was the just like doing 6-on-6 against themselves, and there was a backhand pass to a backhand shot that was pretty sick.
It was Jared Newman, my guy Newman, the Newster, ding the fuck out of Lyle Thompson. And I mean, there was a couple of times last year that just come to mind of Jared getting absolutely dusted, and it was like starting to get pathetic. You were just like, how the hell was this guy the 2019 Defender of the Year? But credit is where credit's due. During that playoff run, he accepted his role and was like, I'm not the best defender on this team. Jack Rowlett is. I'm going to take a back seat. I'm going to like learn how to have to play off ball a little bit, not just be like overly athletic. So credit to him. I'm expecting bigger things this year from him.
Did he change his number? I saw him wearing a pair of 81 shorts. I don't know if that was just because he like could you, because if he changed his number too, like that's a whole new player. Like you show up to a new season with a new number, you're a new man. So maybe
you're a new man. Was that a play on words? You do that. You do that on purpose.
No, I actually
so
didn't. But I will say that, like, again, like this is so obviously, they're missing a bunch of guys playing in the NLL still, but you look at what they are still bringing to the table in these first couple of weeks defensively. So you've got Jack Rowlett leading the way. You've got Jared Newman, who looks like he could have a nice little bounce back season. I've heard great things about Brett Kennedy running around out there. The LSMs are all solid. D middies are all solid. And then obviously when you get to bring back the MVP and the best goalie on the planet, Blaze Reardon, like regardless of how much these guys would be missing, like, yeah, would it be nice to have, Josh Byrne and Dane Smith out there just pounding the rock, putting it in the back of that, Chase Frazier out there. Yeah, it would certainly help, but I don't think that they need to put up that many goals to where, because I think that their defense is going to just keep them afloat for now.
Yeah, I mean, they had the MVP in Cage. Not too many times to see a goalie win MVP. Could he make it? Do you think he'll make it 2 times?
I think it will really have to come down to how the Atli play this year, because if I were a betting man and the lines were available to me right now, I'd put a pretty penny on old Jeffrey Teat, the most slept on man in all of lacrosse. No one believes in this kid. Everyone's doubted him. Everyone's counted him out ever since he was a little lad. No, I think it would have to be Teat or Blaze, because I think that Teat's going to be just an absolute menace to society this summer.
I agree. I'm going to start that off. I agree. I have 2 sleeper picks for people when it comes to PL MVP. I'm trying to get odds on the Barstool Sportsbook, by the way. We might see them soon. We might see player props soon. I'm working on it, doing everything I can. Trust me. But 2 sleepers like for MVP, Brian Costable
It's how you predict. You got it from someone straight from the source.
His cousin,
in
Italy. It's so Casaville Castabile for MVP. Or you're gonna like this one. You're gonna be mad you didn't say it. Sowers to win MVP.
Yes, I do love it. I would like to see Mikey have himself a nice healthy season first.
For sure, you're betting on that 1000%. But here's the thinking behind it. I like Waterdogs to finish, maybe top 3. I fully expect the Atlas to finish top 2. Like, I think at this point you got to finish top 2. You showed what you can do with your youth last year. Finish the job this year. And I think that, look, if the Waterdogs finish top 3 or top 2 and Sowers is an integral part of the offense, then I don't see why he wouldn't win MVP. I mean, if you're on one of the top teams, you put up the points, you're the guy. I think that you just got to get him a full season underneath his belt. And I mean, I think Casabille's the best midfielder. I won't say Schreiber right now because it's listed as attackman during a scrimmage. So I'm going to say that Casabille is the best midfielder.
Is he listed as an attackman? Was that because Granament was hurt?
Yeah, but you got to play.
Yeah, you got to play. Listen. I love both of those picks as sleepers. I don't know if you could give it to Castable when Jeff Teat is going to be the best player on that. Like, that's just one of those ones where it's like, how are you going to be the MVP of the league when you're not the best player on your team type of situation?
This is going to sound crazy, but like, they're both like, look, the way I look at it, the Atlas have the two best young players in the league right now. Like, it's not like, and I think that during any given game that it could be 1A, 1B. Like, that's how highly I think of Castabile. I do get what you're saying.
Well,
Teat's going to have to share, like, everyone's going to have their role to play in this offense. You also have to think, will Teat's workload be cut down a little bit because of Chris Gray coming into the offense? Like, his usage.
Okay, so a couple things. One, like, I know you're not a hockey guy, but it's the Edmonton Oilers having Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Like, both of those guys. McDavid won the Hart Trophy, league MVP, and then the next year Draisaitl won the Hart Trophy as league MVP. So I do think, like, it's definitely possible for Jeff Teat and Brian Castabile to just keep flip-flopping who wins it every year, because I would agree, two of the best young players on the planet. I don't know, like, I just think, I don't know, it is going to be really hard to figure out who the best player on this Atlas team is, because, like, this is the one roster that really, like, obviously things will be a little bit different when the Chaos kind of wrap up their full roster. I mean, the Whipsnakes roster still speaks to me a little bit, but, like, I don't know, this Atlas roster is the one where I look and I just go name by name and I'm like, that dude's fucking sick. That dude's fucking sick. That guy's nasty. That guy's insane. Like, Baccaro, Caraway, Gray, Eric Law, Jeff Teat. That's your attack. Holy shit. Brett Adams, Doc Aiken, Brian Castabile, John Crowley, Brendan Curry, Romar Dennis is midfield. Holy shit. Tucker Durkin, Kyle Pless, Michael Rexroad, Cade Van Raphorst, Max Wayne, D3. Let's get the D3 boys some love for MVP chatter. Max Wayne, right out of CNU. LSM's Craig Chick. People forget what an absolute menace Craig Chick was in college. Kobe Smith just gets up and down the field. He's going to have a couple 2 bombs this year. The D mids, the Dearth Man, Danny Logan and Jake Richard. Face-off guys, Trevor Baptiste and Jake Fopp. Jake Fopp, self-proclaimed worst lacrosse player he's ever seen, but the man knows a thing or two about winning draws. And then you got Colarusso and Kincannon in net. Colarusso having an unreal year last year. Like,
they don't even know who's going to start next week. They have 2 starters on their look. Like, and even if you're going to go by, like, when you go by name, Rexroad ended up being, like, one of the better defenders in the league last year. So if you didn't know his name last year, you know it this year. Plus is maybe the one that, like, if you're a casual lacrosse fan, you don't know, like, but every single name that you just named is a name. Like if you follow college across the professionals for the past like even 2 to 3 years, you know everybody on that. Like Dax Aiken is like the maybe like it's crazy that you like he's not even on your radar. For
Oh
like
no.
he's on your radar because like he's like the third or fourth midfielder you have to worry about in a way.
Yeah, I mean, Dox Aiken being a guy who's going to probably always have a short stick on him is a crime
Dude,
against humanity. Like how the Atlas were able to build this.
I don't know how they're gonna like, but the way that they will be able to extend the field, like Caraway coming out of the box, and like if you want to like have like a lefty high wing for the 2-pointer, like he's a shooting threat. Romar Dennis from the right top spot, like that's you're extending the field, and then you're just giving like in a small compacted field like the PLL has, like T and Chris Gray, they don't have that much room to do tomfoolery. When you have shooters like Caraway and Dennis, Dax Aiken waiting at the top of that box, drawing their poles, drawing their defenders out that far, that just gives ample amount of room for these kids to run wild. Like it, and then it gives all that space in the crease for Eric Law to find his spots, find those openings, and find the back of the cage. Like I'm getting fucking so excited talking about this Atlas offense. It's crazy.
Dude, and then just wait until Kobe Smith comes up as the trail man in a fast break and you hit him.
Oh, is he a good shooter? Just say yes.
Yeah, he shoots the piss out of the ball.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, this team is sick, and that's really, yeah. I mean, right now, so if you head on over to the Barstool Sportsbook app, the Atlas are currently they're tied for the second best odds to win the champion. They're at plus 500 along with the Waterdogs and the Whipsnakes. Right now, the Chaos are still your leaders in the clubhouse at plus 450. Just around that out. We've got Archers and Redwoods both at plus 600, Cannons there at plus 1,000, and Chrome at plus 1,100. Although seems like yeah. I mean the values there.
The values there. I will if you're looking at this and you're seeing the Chaos at the top. All right, you like the Chaos, sure. Look, I'm no gambling expert. I'm no Stu Feiner. I'm no breaking the bank. But I will say this: if you like the Chaos, and you think that they're not going to be as good at the beginning of the year, maybe wait for them to slip a couple games, hope for a couple hiccups, and then that's where you buy your spot. It'll be harder. It'll be a road like last year, but it might be one that gets you more fortune.
Yeah. I will say I'd probably get on the Atlas now while still got some good juice to that. Also, I'd probably get in on the Archers now, although who knows if that's just lighting your money on fire, because I think that, right now, so they're at plus 600. It'll probably keep going, I guess, down and down and down and down in value as the regular season goes on. And then we will see, is this going to be the same old Archers that we've come to know and hate, or are they finally going to be able to turn the corner this season? I mean, the Archers are just, they're known for just shooting their load a little too early. Obviously, the post game celebrations for a nice little win in the first week of July, and then just never being able to get it done in the playoffs. But again, one of those rosters where you just go down the line of their 25 man and it's just nasty player after nasty player. Maybe not quite as loaded as the Atlas is. So maybe not my favorite roster on paper, but definitely just filthy. What do you think about the Archers this year?
The names are there. The names are definitely there. I mean, Ambler always is a player that I think is the unsung hero of this team. I mean, a little biased, I guess, but I'd like to see Ryan Ogden get some time out of the midfield box, the Brown stud. But look, how about Archers? You want a shooter? You want a guy that can really fit this mold, gel with the guys? How about our guy Will Perry getting dropped from the Whipsnakes? I'm looking at this Archers roster, and I think that he would fit in perfectly.
I think so too. We do have to bring up a point though. Will Perry, friend of the program, but I have heard some chatter around the Lax universe that maybe, just maybe, William Perry fell victim to the Dukes Scully challenge curse, right? You show up, you shoot on Dukes, you go 4 for 10. Probably not going to make a 25-man roster after that performance. So did you cost Will Perry a spot on the Whipsnakes 25-man? Some are saying, I'm not. Some are.
Look, I don't. Well,
I think right now
Bill,
you advocating for the Archers to pick him up, I think it's just your guilty conscience kicking in.
look, Bill's a great shooter. He just met a better goaltender that day. Like, people laugh at me, they mock at me. Andy Copeland's calling me just some joke in net. Look, buddy, my angle games, they were the best on the island. They were the best in the Nassau County. Nobody plays their angles like me. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that I had a part in Will getting released to the player pool. I will say that he won't be the last that I send to the player pool. There will be many more PLL players to come. When they come to shoot on me, they better become prepared because they know that it's going to be up on the tube, and they know that I'm bringing the best they got. I'm just shocked I haven't gotten picked up more. I'm like, my phone hasn't been ringing at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe you can be a little 2-for-1 package deal, Will Perry and Dukes to the Archers, and we can just kind of fuck around with Brett Dobson's immigration papers and maybe just get him sent back to Canada for the summer, and then the Archers will be in need of a goalie.
Oh my God! Wait, that's a good idea. We should get whoa, blanking Drake. We should get Drake to tweet off the Crease dive heinous things about Brett, his friend, and then be like, oh, you gotta check his papers, and then all of a sudden Brett can't play. Drake gets on the roster. Then all of a sudden they start looking at other Canadians on the Archers roster. Then that's where Will Perry comes in. So really, I'm a team guy first. You start looking at the Archers Canadian papers, frees up a goaltending spot for our boy Drake. Maybe you start looking at like Trey LeClaire, Harris,
okay,
they can't play.
Yeah,
we need shooters. We got Will Perry. I forgot about him.
Yeah. Or you can just take Graham Hossack out of the equation, and you played pole in college for a little bit, so you can just take up that role.
I would way rather play pole than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously the offense is going to be the headliner anytime you talk about this Archers roster. I mean, they've just got an absolute shooting gallery. Obviously we're going to be missing Grant Ament for at least the first week. Not quite sure exactly how long that injury looks like it's going to be holding him up. But as soon as you add Grant back into the mix, you've got one of the deadliest feeders in the game. You've got Matt Moore, who's just a guy who can do it all out there. So, and then, we didn't even mention Tom Schreiber there, and just best lacrosse player still on the planet. But Graham Hossack is that guy who I think needs to just be just causing nightmares for anybody who comes within 5 feet of him at any given time. And if the Archers can just kind of build up an identity of being a little tougher, right? I think right now, like, they're just like the I consider the Archers to be like the MIAA of the PLL, like just like pretty flashy but not gritty at all. Like they're Baltimore Lax of the PLL. And I think you need a guy like Graham Hossack to come up here and be like, all right, listen, boys, like, grab your nuts, like, let's go to work.
Jordy, we throw around takes and we throw shit against the wall constantly. I'm not kidding when I say that that's your best take today. I've been trying to I've been trying to taste what I've been trying to figure out, like, how would you describe the Archers for the past 3 seasons? You nailed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're Calvert Hall boys. Like they're all of it.
Because it's one of those things, the MIA, like you get the Ty Xanders bias down there. You get like, oh, like these MIA schools are really like legit, like they're top 5 in the country. And once they play the boys from like LaSalle, they play the boys from Haverford, they play Chaminade, St. Anthony's, they get dicked. Philly and Long Island knows how to play tough lacrosse. Maryland kids do not. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I know
and
some Maryland kid is punching the air right now. some Maryland kid just got in a road rage accident. Just drove off I-95.
I'm gonna be getting so many tweets of the screenshots of my 3 points in college from so many Baltimore kids. Like, this you?
Yeah, yeah. I guess someone showed me they're like, where did you play? And it's like, club lacrosse at Dayton. Where'd you play? He's like, oh, I like said some school, and it's like, well, looks like we both sucked.
Yeah. Although Matt Moore could add a little bit of toughness there. He's a Philly public school guy.
That's at least like in the if you're playing like Madden and you like upgrade your player level, it's like, oh, toughness +1. But look, the thing with the Archers too is, like you said, they kind of get this like pussy rep. And look, let's be honest, Father Time's not on their side. I'm gonna say it, their time's passed. They're done. Dunzo, finished. If they won the championship this year, it would shock me beyond belief. It would shock me beyond belief if they ever won another title, like won a title. With this makeup of the group.
I will be very interested. Okay, so yeah, like Gettleman's getting up there in age. Like we'll have to see how. I mean, he still had a pretty solid season last year, but
arguably his best ever last year.
Yeah. So I mean, he could still have another really good year left in the tank. I don't like they have good young players to alleviate, like, because again, like, all right, so you look like Jared Connors, young legs to lead that LSM group. Yeah, like obviously Marcus and Will both getting up there in age, but you've got now Matt Moore and Grant, kind of lightening up their workload. Tom Schreiber, no spring chicken, but I mean, Ambler's youngish, and then we'll see how Ogden kind of fits in here. At the face-off X, I think that Ignacio pickup is going to really help these guys out. I think that's been the one thing that's really been holding this Archers team back, because like you think about, all right, so what their goal differential last year was what, +24. So you figure like they should have that many more possessions than every other team that they're playing against, but they just like, it's not make it take it for the Archers, or at least it hasn't been so far. So hopefully, if this team, if they shoot the way that they're capable of shooting, if they score the way that they're capable of scoring, and you have Ignacio winning the faceoff after every goal, I think that's going to be a real winning formula for them. So I'll still give them this 1 year before I officially cancel the Archers.
You make very good points. I think Ignacio will be good. And also I think it will be, do former stars accept new roles as their age shows, if that makes any sense? Like, some of these players have been on Team USA, have won championships in the past, have been in contention for MVPs in the past. Are they the same players that they were 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was? Maybe not, probably not. So like if these players are able to adapt to their roles, or adapt to new roles, put the ego aside, then yes, the Archers could possibly get it done. But look, it's too late for that. I already canceled them. So I can't, all this is wish-wash, but they definitely have the talent. And I mean, you can't, I think Schreiber is one of those guys like Brady, where like I won't say he's done till he's done.
Yeah. All right. I'm still willing to give him the 1 year, but I'm not going to fall for him the same way that I did last year. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. Yeah. That makes sense.
I shouldn't say that makes sense. Nothing that whatever. But you know what? I think it'll start to get fun after this year. Well, it is fun, but it could I think we're at the point with the league, with the Archers, where their star power is going to start getting frustrated. Like It's year what, three or four, third full year. Teams start to collapse after like 3 years. When you have success like they've had success and can't ever make it to like the championship game, even there's going to be frustration in our locker room. Fingers are going to start being pointed, and
Well,
someone's going to demand a trade. Like
well,
that's where we're at as
the best thing about where we're at as a league is we're now deep enough into like where narratives have been formed. Right. So now they have that narrative on them that they're a team that's just going to go crazy in the regular season, pop bottles in the locker room, and then just get their asses handed to them in the playoffs. So like that narrative wasn't there before because it's like, all right, yeah, like maybe it happened the first season, whatever, like they just weren't ready for the playoffs. Then the bubble happened and it's like, all right, well, like whatever. That was like a 2-week tournament in Utah, like whatever. And then last year happened and it's like, all right, well, hold up a minute, like maybe this is actually a thing. So like now that we're at a point where there can be narratives, that shit can creep into a locker room. Like guys aren't idiots, like they're aware of what's going on. So yeah, I mean if things aren't going well, then that eats away at you. Or if they just figure out a way to turn the hump, then they can just go, double bird up, like fuck everybody, fuck the world, like we got it.
I love the PLL. Just one of the best leagues in the world and everything. The one thing that I would like to see a little bit more would be in-season trades, right? So you're a team like, let's say the Archers get out and they're struggling. And let's just say that they're like, we're willing to put Schreiber on the board. Could you imagine the Atlas like putting on like their first, like say the Cannons are falling a little bit. It looks like the Cannons could have the number one pick. And all of a sudden you're starting like the Atlas, like, all right, we'll give you that pick for Schreiber and a couple other pieces. That's where it would get fun. That's like, you get the pieces for a playoff push. Like you see teams like the Celtics in the NBA, they got the right pieces at the trade deadline and now they're contending for they're in the NBA finals. So I'd like to see a little bit more NBA trades, trade deadline trades for key like players that are now, because I don't really know how the contracts work. You see, like people got signed through 2023, 2024. So say Schreiber just got signed through 2023. You're like, wait, he could leave in the offseason to another team. Like how does that all work? I'd like to see the PLL straighten things out in that regard a little bit.
But yeah. I think we need to get to a point like where like free agency is like an actual thing for where like that's like to where those
I know it's coming.
Trade, I
know
it's coming,
but I don't know. And I know it's like we're getting a taste of it because you see the contracts through X years, Y years, and all that. But like, would that not be fun to see like Tom Schreiber? He's like, oh, we're only going to have him for like 4 more weeks. Let's just trade him away, get some pieces back or whatever, and just try this rebuild. It would be so fun to see him on the Atlas for like 4 weeks and then just go pick a new team.
I mean, I don't even know if that team needs any more firepower, but yeah, that would be sick. All right, well, let's just roll it into what I think might be, the next most lethal offense up in the league. Just a bunch of guys who can shoot the shit out of the ball. Talking about the Redwoods here. So again, like this was another one of those. So the Atlas roster really spoke to me. And then looking at this Redwoods 25-man roster, I think that this is going to be a really, really solid year for the Woods. So, I mean, good pickups over the offseason and from the college draft. Mitch Bartolo, Joe Robinson, the most clutch player that you could ask for. So, comes down to a tight game. Just get the ball to Joe Rob. Picking up Anthony DeMeo. So, I mean, he's probably older than like half this roster and he's a rookie, but we don't have to talk about it. Nakai Montgomery, a lot of people that I'd say Nakai is probably going to be the most polarizing rookie this year. Like, I feel like there are some people already counting him out, other people who might be like over counting him in. But I'm excited to see Nakai work in this offense. I think he's going to be a great distributor. All he has to do is just dish it out to guys like Miles Jones, Sergio Perkovic, Charlie Bertrand. So really, really solid offense with the Redwoods. And then obviously when you talk about the Woods, it's all about the defense and just all the former Notre Dame Irish.
Yeah. And speaking of Notre Dame Irish, my heart dropped when I was reading the roster and I saw LSM. I just saw Kyle Hartzell and I was like, where's John Sexton? I was like, did John Sexton really just get cut? Like, who did he murder in the past 24 hours for him not to be on this roster? But physically unable to perform list. And then two more Notre Dame guys got left out. Charlie Leonard, face-off guy for the Woods, and then Kyle Thornton, dear friend of mine. So I hope that Kyle bounces back, finds a new team. But one of the most shocking moves I thought was Pat Harbison to the player pool. Look, I saw Dan tweeted out that he had like the third most calls turnovers only 2 seasons ago. So clearly he's got production left in him. So I think some team he'll find value for some team down the road. But look, the Woods, I started off a little bit like I was definitely a Redwoods fan. I'm still trying to find out. Like I like betting on the teams, and I kind of find myself rooting for different teams as the seasons go on. Like right now, I'm definitely identifying myself as an Atlas guy. And when this league first started, I hated the Atlas. So it just goes to show how you just like the league's changed. But I think that Kai is going to be one of the most underrated players and midfielders in this league. He's always been getting polls. He's always been the target, the first thing we see on a scouting report. So I think just like blending in with this midfield and not having to be the guy is going to help him do wonders for his game. And look, he could probably stay on the field and play defense too. So I think he'll.
Yeah, I was about to say that like you lose Pat Harbison, but like they have good D mids already with IDA and Jack Neer, and then you couple in the fact that like sometimes you won't even need to transition and just keep Nakai on there and just D up.
I mean, you're also talking about like remember like Perkovic last year staying on the field for defense. He'd be able to decent people up, and then you have him in the transition for the 2-bomb threat. So look, that midfield unit between, I think Miles Jones is an MVP candidate for sure, dark horse. I think he had one of the more underrated seasons last year. I think that a lot of people thought that he lost his game, and I think that he proved that he had probably a top 3 year last year. I'm surprised he wasn't even an MVP candidate, but it's going to be a very, very fun team to watch. TD will get his face-off wins. Tim Troutner will get the saves in cage. The defense will be the defense. You might possibly even see, like, I heard rumors of maybe Matt Landis coming back. So, like, if Landis comes back, I'm ready to put the Woods right in the championship conversation.
Yeah, and then you're also winning a shit ton of face-offs with TD.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just also like, yeah, the midfield is stacked, but then like, all right, so you, but like you, all right, so who's going out there to attack? Probably Ryder, Matt Cav, and Pinnell. So then you can run a guy like Clark Pedersen and Mitch. You run Mitch Bartolo out of the like you send Sergio in for one run, and then the next go around you send Mitch Bartolo in, and people are like, damn, like Sergio's been playing the whole game, and you're like, no, it's just another just massive freak who shoots the piss out of the ball. So,
and I love Ryder. I love Ryder, but almost would you like? I don't know. You're probably gonna have to keep him in there for the lefty, but like Cav, Pinnell, Pedersen, like just like Crease guy.
I keep Ryder out there because he's such a little shit stir. Like, so you keep him like anytime the ball's down on the other end of the field, he's fucking with the defense, and then there's just the mental warfare edge to that.
Yeah,
guy who stirs the pot like that, you got to keep him on the field.
My brain was just spinning. I was thinking about week 1 last year when there was the shot clock was winding down and Ryder tossed it in the air, hoping that the guy would catch it. And I just, do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a 200 IQ play.
Yeah, I want.
Did it work? I know he got
no, but it was really close.
The guy. Yeah.
Everyone was really confused at first. Second is you have to wonder, will Ryder's game step up this year because now he's in the coaching, and people say that he has a bright future in the coaching industry. So look, maybe he's gotten a little bit something in his game now. Maybe he loses the extra time in the gym, but uses it mentally now. So look,
I mean, you see the games, you do see the game so much better from just watching on the sideline the whole winter and spring. So I think, yeah, he's going to be dialed in
for sure.
All right, and then we got 2 more teams to go through here, both of the W teams. So let's start it off. We'll start it in house with the with PMT's Waterdogs. So the Waterdogs, they ended the regular season with the 1 seed last year. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out for them. They got the bye and they had to run into the Whipsnakes in the semifinals. Probably, I don't think anyone really expected that one to go well. But the Waterdogs this year, I mean, listen, it really is going to all come down to if you can keep Michael Sowers healthy or not. And I do think that you can. Like, I think he caught it was a really shitty situation that happened last year where he was already playing so much with Duke. And then he takes that hit to the head and, hot out, brain's a little dehydrated. Body was just going through the gauntlet through the college season. I think having a full off season for him to recover, I think it's going to be great for Michael Sowers. He's also just so shifty and so smart. I think that he'll be able to keep himself out of danger zone. So, I mean, if you have a healthy Michael Sowers for the entire season, I don't see any way why this team can't be, again, right up there with one of the top seeds heading into the playoffs.
I agree. And I think that the Waterdogs bring back the best defensive unit. I think that they're the best defense last year. I think Liam Burns proved to be one of the best people for calls turnovers. Ben Randall shuts people down. I really, really like the Waterdogs defense, Rylan Reese, and then I love their face-off and wing play. Look, the one thing that I'm a little worried about going into the year is could they get off to a bad start again? It kind of took a miracle for them to get into that 1 seed spot. They really had to finish the year strong. But look, their defense is there. It's the same makeup of the offense, just adding Michael Sowers. Dylan Ward's not going to be able to play for the first couple of games because he's with the Colorado Mammoth in the NLL. So you're asking basically, let's say DeLuca gets the start over Jacob Stovers. So you're asking DeLuca to fill in for Dylan Ward, which I'm sure I think DeLuca's a great goalie. But how will it come when Dylan Ward comes back and he's used to playing in the box game? I can't imagine him taking field shots. Well,
I do think if someone could do it, it's probably Dylan Ward.
But people might forget what happened last year. Last year, how did Dylan Ward start off the year? Do you remember?
I mean, I forgot up until you said right now.
Yeah. So what So he started the year off shit. He had his first 5 games. He had 38.5 save percentage. But then who was the main reason they went on the run that they did? He was the ball stopper at the other end, saving 68% of the shots.
It's a good point.
So I'm just worried about when he comes back. Like if they get off to a slow start with DeLuca and Cage, and then Ward comes back and has that 40% less save percentage that he had started off with last year. Where will the Waterdogs be? Will it be too little, too late?
I think that the Waterdogs would be a very good landing spot for Pat Harbison. Just looking at it right now.
Huh. No, I think the Waterdogs would be a great little landing spot for Drake Porter and Will Perry.
And Dukes in the package deal.
Yeah, Copeland's too scared for my team chemistry building activities.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think, I mean, you've got great defense. Rylan Reese, just another one of those poles who can get up and down the field. And just offensively, just a ton of killers all over the place. Like I said, it all kind of depends on Sowers, but I mean, you just look at who he can distribute the ball to. Ryan Brown, Ethan Walker, Zach Currier, Jack Hanna can step in and let it fly. Connor Kelly can step in and let it fly if he gets himself hot. Mikey Slosher can draw some slides. Ryan Conrad can just stay out on the field for, 140 minutes a day. So yeah, I mean, I really like this Waterdogs team, although I kind of blanked on not having Dylan Ward there for the first couple weeks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they get off to a bad start and then he comes back and he doesn't have the start that he's used to, where could they be? But yeah, I think that their midfield and what they did last year was very impressive. Like you said, Connor Kelly, I love. So like Connor Kelly and Courier, I think kind of lead that, followed by Mikey Schlosser. And then you got like Ethan Walker, who I thought came on very strong towards the end of the year last year. McCardle is a stud. They have a lot of pieces. They have a lot of
Yeah.
shooters, and they can get a lot done.
Yeah, kind of like you said with the chaos. If you like the Waterdogs to be playing in that final game, potentially coming out of here with the PLL championship, maybe instead of taking that plus 500 right now, just wait a week or so.
Pray for some losses. Pray for some losses.
Yeah. All right, and then the Whipsnakes. The league has been around for 3 years. The Whips have played in all 3 final games. They won the first 2. And I mean, they're just they're just the model of consistency in this league, probably the model of consistency in professional sports right now. The roster is looking dangerously similar to how it's looked over the past few years. Although, they get to add guys like Keegan Khan, who had just a insane season with Maryland this year. So naturally he was going to slot right in there with the Whipsnakes. They go ahead and they steal Wheaton Jacoboys from following the Notre Dame train to the Redwoods. I mean, there's not much that needs to be said about the Whipsnakes because I think we know exactly what we're going to get out of them.
Look, just the only thing that you have to know about the Whipsnakes and my opinion on the Whipsnakes is they're plus 500 on the Barstool Sportsbook to win the PLL championship. Studs. You could make the argument that they were the best team last year and that Kyle Bernlord kind of didn't play his best season. And then Brian Phipps played amazing to get them to the championship game, and the championship kind of just fell apart for them. But I think that this is a team that's not too old, in which I don't think Father Time's catching up to them at all. You might think that it's catching up to them because they've been so dominant the past couple of years, but really they're not old at all. The best players probably aren't even 30s yet. So I love the Whips.
Yeah, I mean, like until Rambo's 30, which you've still got quite a few years for that. I think that this window stays open for the Whipsnakes. Also, I mean, they'll be without Zed for the first couple weeks, but I don't like. Will they miss him? Absolutely. Will they be perfectly fine without him? Also, yes. Will they be preposterously dangerous once he comes back? Yeah.
I mean, I think like Brad Smith was one of those players last year that I think that he's like, wouldn't surprise me if he won an MVP in his future, to be honest. I think he's a stud and a half. I don't know where he'll play from. He's listed as an attackman. So are they saying that they'll play him at attack when Zed's not there?
Maybe in the meantime.
Yeah, but he's just a threat offensively. Doesn't need the ball on his stick, but when he has it in his stick, he's a dynamic player. And then Jay Carlson will do Jay Carlson things on the Crease.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Earhart will be, just throwing the 2-bomb around every once in a while. Jake Bernhardt, just be a real son of a bitch to have to play against, as always. Same with Ty Warner.
Back, by the way. Tyler Warner's back, like missed last year. So that's like a player from a championship team that you just got right back. It's just huge get for them.
And then they're going to be winning plenty of face-offs with Joe Nardell. Yeah, I mean, it's the Whipsnakes. So like at this point, at this point, it's like, they're going to be playing at the very least in one of those final 2 weekends. But you can probably slot them in, especially again, championship's going to be in Philly. So that Rambo's gonna bring the boys there. I mean, those are those are all 18. I mean, do we want to like who are our top 3?
Yeah, let's go 3 picks.
All right.
We have 3 futures to win it all.
All right. Well, gotta go. I mean, I'll just keep right off the bat Whipsnakes because it's already in my head. Atlas, and then I like the Redwoods. I really do like that. It's speaking to me.
Fuck.
Was
I
that
was
just
going to say the
this?
same thing, but now I'm going to switch it up. Atlas, Waterdogs, Whipsnakes.
Okay, yeah, that I was between Redwoods and Waterdogs, so I think
Same.
those are our clear top fours.
Yeah, I honestly,
Which
I'm not.
actually, which is crazy because like to not have the chaos in there, like they'll find a way to get there.
Look, we're not. I'm not taking the fucking favorite. I'm not. And like, also, there's like, we can't just pretend that there's not what ifs there. There's what ifs there. Like, what if Josh Byrne gets injured in the NLL championship? Like, what if all that happens?
Don't you put that evil on me.
That was fucked up. That was fucked up. But yeah, I mean, it should be fun.
Now
I'm excited.
is there such thing as playing too much lacrosse, right? Like are they going to be laxed out
Oh,
after yeah.
Jordy, this is why you're the best. Will their team chemistry bubble burst? I mean, you basically had the PLL season, your buddies, you love to be together, into the Bandits run, into a deep run, and then you got to be with the same guys in the locker room for an entire season.
Oh, no. That wasn't what I was saying. They're all Canadians. They fucking love the boys. They'll never get sick of the boys. I'm just saying they might get like a little lacrossed out. They might hit
I know
a wall.
that. I know you were saying that. I'm saying the other thing. I'm saying somebody is going to get fed up when someone ruins their mojo. Do you want to be picks?
Probably be the Texas guy.
Yeah, they're gonna kick Bryce out right away.
All right. Well, yeah. So I think we have a clear top four. And then we just added so much more fuel to the chaos fire. They're gonna 3.4% us, so 3.2% us so hard. All right. Well, yeah. So those are your 8 teams. That's pretty much everything you need to know heading into the season. Let's just talk about these matchups that we have coming up this weekend in Albany before we wrap things up for everyone. All right. So first game of the year, kicking us off Saturday, 2:15 p.m., which a little I'll be coaching a state quarterfinal game here with my boys at Springfield. So hopefully we'll be winning at the same time as probably the Whipsnakes will be winning this one, but we've got the rematch of last year's championship game to kick us off. Whipsnakes right now on the Barstool Sportsbook app, favored -1.5. Chaos on the money line at +165. Whipsnakes -215. So obviously Chaos heading in here with the replacements. A lot of their guys are out while they're still playing in the NLL, and the Whipsnakes coming back with almost a full roster, just minus Zed Williams right now. So Dukes, who do you like in the rematch of last year's final?
It's Whips -1.5. Don't even think about it. Love.
Yeah, over under on that one is set at 22.5. I also I don't know if I love that over actually.
Ooh, because I was gonna say I love the under.
I'm thinking give me like a 12-9.
Yeah. Because even if the Whipsnakes offense doesn't get it done and like Blaze of the game, the defense of the game, because the defense is still the same makeup. I don't really know if like the Chaos will get it done against that Whipsnakes defense, because that Whipsnakes defense is also really fucking good. There's some really good lacrosse players in this league.
Yeah, I like Whipsnakes on the spread, and yeah, I mean it's a low number for this league, but I don't know. First game of the year, figuring some stuff out.
We also fall into we also like as like lacrosse fans fall into this thing that like every over should hit. Do you remember there was like when we first got a taste of betting during the PLL bubble, everybody was betting the overs, and the PLL overs were like 0 for like 17 to start. Like I remember kept betting it because I was like, I'm not stopping until it hits.
Yeah, but it just like makes like you look at how much talent is on the field, you look at how short the field is, you look at the shot clock, you're like, there's no way that they're not scoring. Yeah. But then I guess you just don't take into consideration like, oh yeah, like there's also just nasty defensemen all over the place and great goalies. So so Whipsnakes -1.5 and the under in that one. The second game, so that game will be on streaming on ESPN Plus. the second game of the weekend. This will be on ESPN. So again, if you're out at the bar on a Saturday night, this should already be on the TV. You shouldn't even have to ask your bartender for it. On ESPN, we've got the Redwoods taking on the Atlas. The Atlas right now -1.5. They're -134 on the money line. Their Redwoods are +105. Over under on this one, 24.5. Dukes, how do we feel about game 2?
This one's tough. This one is very, very tough because I could talk myself into either team. But look, it's got to be the Atlas -1.5. I don't necessarily have a reason yet other than my thoughts from last year, but I think that the Atlas do get this done, but I also really like the over 24.5 because I think that, when you have the Redwoods, two bomb threats, look, Kincannon, I don't know who's going to start yet. So this is kind of where I'm like in between. I don't really want to tell you guys too heavily one way. If Kincannon gets the nod, Kincannon is really good at stopping shots inside. Kincannon is not very good from stopping shots outside. What do the Redwoods excel at? Extending the field. Sergio Perkovic, Miles Jones. They're going to be shots on net, and these 2-pointers could be flying. So I like the over 24.5, but I will take the Atlas with the -1.5 because look, when you have Jeff Teed on the field and you add Chris Gray, look, it's not too many times I'm gonna not take you, especially to see for the first time all year. So yeah, Atlas -1.5 and over 24.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I love both of these teams. I think that this, I would not be shocked at getting a little taste of overtime right off the bat in day 1 of the season. I think that this is a 1-goal game, comes down to that final possession. Unfortunately, the Woods aren't really necessarily great at coming out on top of those ones. So I guess I would lean Atlas by 1 in this game. But I really see this one coming down to the final possession. So I would go Redwoods +1.5. But if you're feeling a little frisky, Atlas on the money line.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that a 1-goal game is definitely in the equation. I'm hoping for a garbage goal though.
Would be nice. Big for the program. All right, and then on Sunday, both these games will both be streaming on ESPN Plus. We've got the Waterdogs taking on the Cannons at 1 p.m. and then we've got the Chrome taking on the Archers at 3:45. So Waterdogs right now favored on the Barstool Sportsbook app -1.5. They're -155 on the money line. Cannons at +120. Over under on this one, another 24.5. I think it's gonna. Again, Lyle Thompson can do so much for you. He can single-handedly take over a game. He can have a 7-point game and keep you guys right in it. I'm not going to automatically count out this Cannons offense and say that it won't be able to work out. But what I will say, it might take a little bit more than 1 week of training camp in order for them to hit their stride. So I really like the Waterdogs in this one.
Yeah, love the Waterdogs. And I actually like the under here, under 24.5.
Even with no Dylan Ward?
Yeah, even with no Dylan Ward. I like DeLuca a lot. I'll trust the DeLuca here. I don't think the Cannons offense will get much going.
All right. And the final game of the weekend. So Chrome Archers -2.5. And so you're getting at -2.5 at +105 there. On the money line, you've got Archers -225 and Chrome +170. Dukes, is this time for you to just flop it right out there on the table and really put your money where your Chrome love is?
Oh, dude, who did you think I was going to take it? Obviously, it's the Chrome +2.5. I mean, look, the Archers are a great team, very talented. You might be saying, isn't there too much offensive firepower for this Chrome team that's picked to finish last in the league? You know it's going to be hard? Getting these talented offensive players the ball when you can't win a fucking face-off. I think that Ignacio is going to get his first taste of what the league's like against the Milkman, Connor Farrell. That's not just like a boy over from like Penn State, College Park. It's not just a boy from fucking like Malvern, PA, playing for Hopkins. No, this is a grown man, a man's man, a D3 football player. So a D2, whatever. So
I
yeah,
mean,
I do like the Chrome in this. I think they get it done.
Philly guys are the best face-off guys on the planet. So I'm gonna rebuke that Malvern chirp, but
look, it was just more. I didn't want to bring up Garden City into this. Shout out Garden City for winning the Nassau Class B championship today. Go GC. But yeah, I like Chrome plus 2.5 in this. Really do. I think they're going to come out with the chip on their shoulder. Talk about a chip on their shoulder. Everybody's counting them out.
Oh, by the way, didn't even really mention, but so that one, I think you got to go Colarusso in net for the Atlas, and then also with Blaze in net. We totally forgot about, just both of those guys being former members of the Dane train, with the games being in Albany. So just a stadium that they're used to just putting up some big time saves in. Did
they mess up not putting the Atlas against the Chaos?
That would have. I mean, I guess you have. I guess you have to do the the championship rematch, right? Like that's like a thing to start off the season. But it would have been nice if it had worked out that way. But yeah, that makes me love that under in the Whipsnakes Chaos game even more now. I think that would be my lock of the week, actually.
Okay, yeah, I do like. I won't use it as my lock. I'll give 2 locks. Whipsnakes minus 1.5 and Waterdogs minus 1.5.
Yeah, I think that's
Chrome plus 2.5.
Chrome 2.5. I don't know.
Battle for the ages.
Listen, I'm really, again, like, you're bringing Logan Wisnauskas into this game, who's coming off of such a hot streak right now. That I think, like, I think it's going to be a while before he cools off. So yeah, I think that he's going to be able to help keep you in games. Heacock is probably also going to be riding a little high off that buzz with Maryland winning the national championship. He's probably been licking his chops to get back out there playing with a little extra juice. Nick Turn, I think I'm really excited to watch him play with, it's not like Army, like Army's a really good program, but I'm excited to watch him play a game where he's not the best player on the field. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, all right, you Chrome, I don't know, just give me the over in this game.
I get what you're saying about the Nick Turn thing. I think he's just got that dog in him. I don't know, but he gets the best player. He's like, doesn't play with uber talented players like he will be playing with in the, like, it's like Patriot League ball versus ACC, you might say, in some respect, right?
Right.
Like, it's kind of like
I'm saying that this is going to be better for him.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah. Because like a lot of people were making that like, oh, like how's Asher going to do when he's not like the guy? No, I think that Nick Turn just being able to do what he does, but then like not have to carry that big of a role as he's had to the past 4 years at Army. Like I think he's going to look even better than we've seen him.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm talking myself a little bit more into the Chrome as a whole throughout this segment right now. So maybe I'm not quite as down on them as I was at the beginning of this episode, but I still think that the Archers probably speed bagged them a little bit this game. But at the very, but I'm not going to touch the spread. I would just go, give me the over.
All right, ready for a hot? It wouldn't be a Crease Dive episode without a hot take. If I could bet, just we're talking value, right? If I could bet on a team to finish last, I'm taking the Archers.
It's a bold move. Would you get some good
value
juice on that? Yeah. Would you get the value in it? Yes. I would. I don't know. It's just so hard. I still think
Like it has to be a team. It definitely has to be a team. It's most likely gonna be the Chrome or the Cannons. But if there's
right,
one team outside of them, I'd probably take the Archers. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
are you gonna say it? Because I don't want to say it. I like the only other team that I would pick would be the Chaos.
That's what I was gonna say.
which won't, yeah. Yeah.
I was even gonna say the Waterdogs, but I was like, no, like they kind of like they couldn't do that. The league literally wouldn't let the water.
Yeah.
The league wouldn't let the Waterdogs be last because then Big Cat would stop watching.
No, I all right. So yeah, I don't see it, but it would be the only good value pick for that bet.
The value pick of the century, Jordy.
Yeah.
I think the team. I think the team picked to finish first. If they finish last, great value.
All right, we got to figure out a way to get that bet up on the sportsbook app. So the haters bet of the year. But yeah, so that's week 1 of the PLL season. Came right up on us in Albany at Tom and Marie Casey Stadium Saturday and Sunday. We've got 4 games on deck, 3 of them streaming on ESPN Plus. That second game on Saturday at 5 p.m. on ESPN. Dukes, you'll be there for a few days, at least for a little bit on that Saturday. So if you guys are going to be around in Albany for this weekend, make sure you hit up Dukes. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Crease Dive channel on YouTube and that you are also following us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Crease Dive on both. And anything else before we get out of here?
Say what up to me, Billy Football, Jake Marsh will be there. I know that I might stay for both games. They might stay for one, but it should be a good weekend. I'm excited to get up there, and I'm excited that the PLL season has officially really begun.
Oh yeah. One last thing before we get out of here. Shout out to Joey Spolina breaking the Long Island all-time career points record with 501 points on the year. Absolute maniac. Did it without a sophomore season. He hit like 4. They put it like they were celebrating his 400th career point in like April, and now he has 501 just like a few weeks later. Just absurd.
It's one of those records that is myth-like on Long Island because nobody ever thought that he would be able to touch Nicky Galasso's record. Nobody thought that anybody would be able to. Like even Brendan O'Neill put up like 90 points as an 8th grader, and nobody thought it could be done. So congrats to Joey. I think it's one of the first milestones that he'll reach in his career. Hopefully he's not Jordan Evans.
Don't put that evil on. You're throwing bad juice around. So
I know I gotta watch my back tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh man.
I will say that the PLL, they're setting some things up for me, Billy. So there'll be some good footage that we'll get up to this. I might put some stuff up on the Crease Dive YouTube, but some players might do some goalie challenges in our future, maybe some one-on-ones. Man, I am terrified that they're going to pull Newman out of the locker room and be like, wanting to go do a goalie challenge on this kid that's been talking shit about you for 2 years.
Yeah, he's aiming straight for the kneecaps.
Straight. Like, it's not like I'm always saying, like, I don't really care going against the pros because they'll just pick corners. I'd be like, holy shit, he's going right for me.
Yeah,
he's shoot it through me.
Yeah, he's looking kneecaps real hot and heavy. All right, yeah. So that is. Oh, go ahead.
One more thing. We are going to do finalizing the works of it, but we should have a weekly gambling show where with me, Jordy, Billy Football, just talking about the PLL, more gambling centric. So if you're just not a gambling person, just want to talk lacrosse, we'll still have this going on, but I'm looking to get a gambling show to talk about lacrosse, the cross lines, and the cross futures.
All right. So be on the lookout for that. Again, make sure you're following us on everything else. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. We out.